we're gonna keep trying. For some reason, we're getting kicked off a lot, but we'll keep trying. Bear with us as we work out all of these technical difficulties, and we will work to share with you some of the things that we are thinking about.
Hi, Lone Star.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Okay, we are back. Hi, Premium Mom to Twins. As we tried to say in the first one, we are jumping on here for a few minutes to share some stuff with you guys. And the partner in crime that I have today is Mr. Peanut, my son Max. Heather's not feeling well tonight, and she's like, I can't go live or I'll throw up on everybody, and so we decided not to let you see that. But we wanted to come on, and we got several questions on some of our streams and comments asking, what is the plan for us when we go to the city for self-sufficiency? And I thought, what a great opportunity, since we have a Saturday night free, to come on live and have some fun and talk about what our plan is for the upcoming days as we move closer to moving into the city. The hope is that we can answer some of your guys' questions and comments about what is the plan and what are we going to be doing. And I know there's other shows on right now. Please watch them. If you usually watch another show, go watch that show. We're just here playing around and having a little fun and enjoying our time going live. So if there are others that you want to watch, we encourage you to go watch them and watch us on the rewind. But for those of you who stay and hang out with us, we're going to talk about what is the plan for living self-sufficient in the city. And I think one of the things that we're really doing is we're really, I think Heather and I are both very carefully looking to see what God calls us to do. He may, in his wisdom, he may call us to stay there. And if we have to stay in the city and be self-sufficient, then our goals change, because we're going to work on blessing the people around us. We've seen a lot of folks that have moved into the city, planted a garden, and really blessed the people around them with free groceries. Eggs and vegetables and that kind of thing. So before we go any further, one of the benefits of having a Goin Batty clan member on the show with us is he can give you his perspective on us going from where we are now to where we're gonna go, and kind of what he feels. Mr. Peanut, what do you feel about moving from here into the city and maintaining that self-sufficient lifestyle?
Well, I mean, it's kind of new because we're used to being out on a lot of land, and I mean, being in a smaller area, I mean, you need to learn how to improvise too, because you have to learn what you need and what you really don't need. Because, I mean, hi everybody. So, I mean, I looked through a book that my mom got. It was Square Foot Gardening. And I realized how much we could plant in such a little space.
And who did we get the book Square Foot Gardening from? Space Cat. We appreciated that book more than you know, Space Cat. That book has really helped us a lot. Hey, Keeping It Dutch, how are you, man? So we're thankful for that book, and it's going to help us as we move into living in the city and doing a self-sufficient lifestyle. You know, homesteading has such a wide variety of descriptions. We will not compare ourselves to the homesteaders that are living on 10 acres, 20 acres, 30 acres. It's a different ball game, okay? It's a whole different routine, whole different mindset. But what I will say is that there are similarities in the mindset of how can we live off the land more? How can we be self-sufficient and not have to live on grid even though we're smack dab in the middle of the grid? These are challenges I know we're going to face. And we just wanted to give you some of our goals and some of our plans for how that's all going to play out. So let's jump right into it and we'll share it with you guys. And if our signal goes loopy, I apologize. But right now, everything's looking like it's working pretty good. So, one of the first things... yes.
Wait a minute. I saw that Keeping It Dutch was on here.
Yes.
And I love your videos. You're awesome.
Yeah, he does a good job. He's got a lot of wisdom. Trucking It Up is here. Allison Butler is here. Donna Terry. Books Are People 2. Nona Grace. M. Melody. Space Cat. Allison Butler, I might have already said. M. Melody. Premium Mom to Twins. Prissy Green. A bunch of great people are on the feed with us tonight. Aaron, how are you? We're glad you're all here. So we're going to jump in, and we're going to... feel free to ask us questions, but do it in all caps so we can see it. But we're going to jump in, and the first thing that we're going to try to do when we get there is begin a compost pile. I know it sounds silly, and we got this worm farm from Big Family Homestead, and we're going to start feeding them a lot of compost so they can start creating all of these different things. And just so you know, Heather's in the back here, and Katie's moderating, and so they'll be adding kind of their 2 cents as well, and maybe even passing me notes. I'm getting one now, as a matter of fact. Oh yeah, well, and we'll see about that. Yeah, we'll add that right there. Okay, sorry. So let me water. Yeah, that's a big deal. Okay. So we live in Cincinnati. We live outside of Cincinnati right now, and I'm not going to be specific about where we're living, but we're going to move from Cincinnati up north about 30 minutes, 40 minutes to a place called Dayton. It's a place where I was raised. It's where we lived when we first got married. We actually own a home there that we've had rented out for quite a while, and it is. Been wonderful because we've lived with family since we've moved back from Maryland, and we've been able to Keeping It Dutch. Thank you, man. That was really awesome of you. Wow, cool. Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate that. Here you go, little man. That was for Mr. Peanut. That wasn't for me. That was for Mr. Peanut. Awesome. But anyway, we're gonna get this whole thing figured out, and we're going to start with compost pile. We're going to use our worm farm to start creating some of that awesome dirt that worms catch, and we're going to begin by creating some raised beds. Now, when we move, we'll be headed into winter, so it's really important that these compost piles have the winter to begin to, marinate and cook and start doing all the things that they do. When we start looking at it as a whole, though, we're going to do stuff like dry stock in the basement for all of our long-term storage. We're going to start looking at a wood-burning stove, and how we're going to kind of get that installed. Let's see. I have a question. What's with the orange box and money? That is called Super Chat. And I'm not really familiar with Super Chat. It's kind of a new thing, and so we're kind of learning as we go too. But it's a blessing, and we're grateful for it. Hope you keep us up to date on your worm farm. I need ideas for mine. Listen, the one thing that I'm learning, Pamela, is that with the worm farm, red wigglers are the key. You put red wigglers in there, and they just start chewing through all of that stuff, and it's awesome. The wood burning stove, right now in this house we have a fireplace that's useless, and so what we're going to do is we're going to get a wood stove installed, and that's going to be what heats our house instead of going through the gas and all that stuff. We're going to see how we can do about getting one installed into this old house. And it's a Cape Cod. It's got some issues. We're going to have to do some fixing up. It's been a rental for a while. Awesome. Okay, so Nona Grace is saying, I went from a regular garden to raised beds. Mine are knee-high and perfect. Awesome. And I think that's what we're going to be doing. We've got some shaded areas, but we have some real awesome places where there's lots of sun. But anyway, one of the big things that we're going to do in the basement is create some shelving for dry stock. And so all of our long-term food storage is going to go down there. There's plenty of places down there. We're going to create a better studio for doing our videos. I say studio and I mean very makeshift. We'll still use my iPhone. We'll keep it pretty cheap. But yeah, it is. It is a big deal for us, and we're going to be working on it. We're going to be making changes that we need to make, and I'm pretty excited about it, actually. So some of our goals are, and I wanted to try to get back to this, but we were thinking about quail, because in the city of Dayton, there's no chickens allowed. So we're actually downsizing all of our chickens. And as hard as that is to do, because I'm a chicken guy, I love chickens. I know a lot about them. It's where we first started. If I could, I would have 500 chickens. We would breed meat birds all year long. But what I think we're probably going to do, yes, it's definitely something we want to continue to do, but we can't do it in the city. So we've got to figure out, maybe there's a farm somewhere that'll let us keep some chickens or meat birds or something like that, where we can fill our freezer up with them. One of the things that we've learned how to do is eviscerate our own chickens, and in doing so, it puts food on the table. So let's talk about quail for a minute. I see quail a lot in a lot of different places, and I'm not sure, are the eggs from a quail, and I've never eaten a quail egg, and I need to. I know I need to. Are they the equivalent of a chicken egg? I don't know. If you guys can tell me, do you know what that tastes like? I know they're much smaller, so like 5 might equal that. But Lone Star's saying no. They're much smaller? Do they taste like normal eggs, but just smaller? Oh, why are we moving? Why are we moving? Okay. We have been living with family, and we have 7 people living in a very small space. This house where we're living now is Heather's mom's house, and we want to move into our own place where our kids can have their own rooms, we can have our own space, and we can begin doing some of our own things and give the house and back to Heather's mom, and start becoming self-sufficient in a whole nother way. We've lived with family, and it's been great to get back on our feet after moving back from Maryland. We've been able to practice and learn a lot of these homesteading techniques that you guys have taught us by watching your videos, and we're gonna move up there, because our thoughts are this, and this answers maybe a question Lone Star had, is what's the long-term plan? We don't know. The Lord might tell us that we need to stay. We need to stay in the city, and we need to be self-sufficient there and give away our vegetables to our neighbors and our quail eggs to our neighbors. We don't know really what is going to, where he's going to call us. But the idea we have is, in 2 or 3 years, as we pay off a little more debt, we start looking for our forever home. And that might be a 5 to 10 acre piece of land with a house on it that needs some work, where I can still do youth ministry and the Thrive Life thing, and go from there. But what right now we feel like God's calling us to do is to move into the city environment and go back and forth. I'll be driving back and forth from work to Cincinnati, and so let's go to the live chat real quick and answer some questions I see coming on. They are, so I'm going to back them up. I see people buying up quail eggs fast. Cherish on Hope's Homestead has done videos on quail. Thanks for that. We'll be checking that out. I know Lone Star's doing quail right now. So he's got a tip for us. Tip for quail that I've learned in the past few weeks of having quail is the commercial feeders stink. That's why I'm trying to make an automatic waterer right now. So there you go. Oh, and Melody, thank you very much. So anyway, you guys are very generous. Thank you for doing that. But anyway, I just felt like, quail is something we need to investigate because they're considered domesticated pets, and it's a workaround so that we can still get fresh eggs if they taste okay. And so I think probably one of the things I need to do in the next couple of weeks is buy me up some quail eggs and try them and see what they taste like. Would you eat a quail egg?
I hear they taste like chicken.
I hear quail are very tasty, but they're very small. So you have to eat like 7 of them for a full meal. But anyway, I think that's what we need to do. We need to try a quail egg, yep, that's why I can have them on my apartment stead. I thought so, and isn't that interesting how we're learning off each other, brother? I really appreciate that a lot because I'm going to be watching you to see how your quail do so that I can start them and figure out what to do with them. I know they're small. I know they, hey, Keeping It Dutch, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate your videos. Keep making that rocking content. We'll catch you soon. Thanks so much. So, the smaller quail, or the smaller birds like quail, I understand they just lay down like some serious eggs, and so those will be enough to help sustain our family. And quite frankly, there's only a few of us that actually eat eggs, but we use them a lot in baking, and it would be interesting to see if quail eggs can be used for baking. One of the other things that we'll have with us is rabbits. So give us a little bit of your insight on the rabbits. What do you think of the rabbits, and what are they useful for? I'm going to drink my tea.
They're kind of goofy, though. Like, I mean, we have one rabbit that just... He's probably my favorite rabbit out of all of them. We named him Rusty Britches, but like the guy's like not even red at all.
He's a loner.
Yeah, and I mean, he was his neighbor. They were right beside each other, and he peed all over his neighbor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was gross because.
But we didn't have them separated well.
Yeah, we did.
We have them separated better now, where there's a wall in between them and they can't see each other.
Yeah.
So that there's less of that happening. Okay, so Premium Mom to Twin says, unfortunately, where I live, quail equals chickens, and I would be limited to a total of 10. Interesting. Very interesting. And, that's one thing that we need to do is we need to check our local laws to see if that counts as fowl, and if there's laws with fowls or if there's laws with others. So I just, we'll have to see. I'd rather have chickens for sure. Ohio has a law that they're looking into. Heather knows more about this than I do. She mentioned it on the last live stream, where Ohio is deciding whether people can have backyard chickens or not. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to do this, but the little rebel inside of me goes, let's put up a privacy fence and have a couple of chickens. But I know that we're not going to do that. That's just me talking. I think us figuring out, it's Bill 175. I think us figuring out what does self-sufficiency look like in some of the constraints that we have are important. So we're going to figure that out. Another idea, this is an idea my wife came up with. The house is in the city. The one that we own, it is in the city. It is in a part of, it's a part of Dayton. But it's in a little neighborhood that is safe. And so I feel good about us moving there as far as the safety of my family. I feel good about living there for a few years while we get, settled. So Space Cat, here's a man has a 4th acre with rabbits and sells 50 skinned a month. Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive. That's another way that we might be able to make some money, because I know some of the highfalutin restaurants are buying off a lot of rabbit right now. I think part of going into that stuff is you got to have the connection, and I don't have that connection right now. And so I don't want to get overboard, have a bunch of rabbits, and then I don't have anywhere to sell them. So I have to be wise about what I'm doing. Anyway, you're right. Rabbits are a little bit different, and our rabbits are a little bit weird. So we're going to be working with them and figuring out what the best course of action is as far as, do we just sell them live? What can we do with them?
And I mean, if as far as pets go, I mean, they're pretty fun because, I mean, they're playful. They're really playful. But they are a lot of work, and their poop stinks.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
But it's gold on the garden, my friends. This stuff is perfect. So whatever poop they have, we'll be putting on the garden. We'll be using it. It'll be something that we feed our plants.
Smell, man.
It's rough. It's rough. And actually, it hasn't smelled. Our new system with the pine chips has worked better. It hasn't smelled as much. We just have to keep after it. It's not something that you can, trucking it up would rather eat rabbit than chicken. Awesome. Hi, Boxer Lover. How are you? So, what kind of garden will you have? Oh, James, I'm glad you asked that. One of the things that we have dealt with is we got a lot of blight this year. And so being real careful to have good soil so that we can do all of the things that, people would do. I'm sorry, I got distracted by the live chat. The garden, sorry. Kale, tomatoes,
Cucumbers.
cabbage. Honey, I know that you're on the live chat, so by all means, speak up here. There's a bunch of, it's almost like what won't we do? We'll be doing cucumbers, we'll be doing cabbage, we'll be doing dill, we'll be doing basil, a whole herb garden in the front yard.
Maybe pumpkins.
Pumpkins, squash for sure.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to do, like, watermelons, because, I mean...
Those are touchy.
Yeah, I mean, watermelons have really not done well. We've tried them for 2 years.
That's true.
And, like, all we've gotten... Last year, we got one that was only this big. Yeah. So it was pretty disappointing. I was like, what? Yeah. Why aren't you doing your job?
Yeah. I think that some of the things that we are thinking about doing in our yard, they'll kind of come to us as we go too. Some things will grow better than others, but we're hoping to get that soil nice and rich, and our yard's going to look totally different than it does now. I mean, it's gonna definitely be a different experience for us. And there's a part of me that knows that a lot of this can't start until the spring. We're really going to have to work hard to get the flower beds built and get ready for the season, and I know that that's going to take some work. He is doing great, isn't he? Give it up for Mr. Peanut. Who knew? Another idea that Heather had that I wanted to share with you guys, and she's mentioned it before, is up in the kids' room and in other rooms, we're going to buy and hook up solar-powered lanterns. And what these are is you let them sit in the sun and charge, and then at night, instead of flipping on the light switch, we're going to flip on these solar-powered light lamps. And that way, if the guys need light, they can use the solar-powered light instead of the electricity from the wall. And I think those are opportunities for all of us to kind of begin living off-grid and beginning experiencing what that means. And those things give off plenty of light, and they're not very expensive. I mean, if you go to the camping store, you can buy those inflatable ones. You can buy the kind that stand on a lamp. You can put up a couple hooks up in the ceiling. They'll shine great, and it'll be awesome. I think that would be an awesome opportunity for us. But I think for... in our particular situation where we're rebuilding and starting a new journey, some of these things like solar power are new lessons we're going to have to learn. Let's go to the live stream real quick. I see a lot of great things being said.
I mean, also, like, it's probably be a good idea anyway, because I mean, the only time we really use like the lights is like we'll use them every once in a while during the day if it's rainy.
Yeah.
But we'll use them during like the night or like when it starts to be time to go to bed. I mean, that's usually the only time we'll use them. So I mean, it's probably a good idea to do that anyway.
Yeah. One of the things that was brought up here was, would it be legal for us to kill a rabbit and sell it to a restaurant? Not planning on doing that. That could be a long shot for us. But I think growing things is good. You could get meat out of from out of towners you trust, and bartering is good. I think bartering is part of it, but I think just giving some of our vegetables away to our neighbors so that they feel the love too might be an idea to kind of win their affection and not make them frustrated. We don't plan on having a messy yard, but in case one of them happens to think that the rabbits smell or they don't like the way the herb garden looks, well, maybe we can share that with them and they can enjoy it. One of the interesting things about what'd you say?
Butter them up.
But yeah, butter them up. One of the interesting things about where we're gonna move is it isn't in a food desert, but there isn't great like farmers markets or farmer stands there, and fresh vegetables, homegrown vegetables, they really kind of have to drive for that. Yeah, it might be called bribery, Donna. But let's not bring that up. Hi, Bandana Grandma. How are you? Clockwork light would be good. Wind-up radios. I have a wind-up radio. I love it, and it charges my iPhone. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah, it sure does. And so we've got a couple of different plans for being self-sufficient. The solar panels. The other thing is we've got some solar panels that we're going to hook up in the garage to run some of the lights in the garage. They're not huge, but they will provide light, and that's all we need. We just need a little bit to charge lights. We've got a bunch of batteries. We got a bunch of batteries that we can charge and use for light out there, and I think that might be just the ticket so that we can stay self-sufficient. Yeah, the other idea that we had, and I don't know how this is going to play out in the city, is we're going to have bees. We're going to have a one thing of bees tucked back away in the corner where no people are, and we're going to see if that flies or not, and it may not. But one of the things that we have been told we can do is that we're going to have bees here and keep them here, because we'll be here on a regular basis and be able to check on them. Heather's mom is not going to go away. I mean, she's always going to be here, and she's going to be allowing us to do some homesteading here too. So the garden actually will be getting ready for the fall. We'll be doing some stuff to it so that we can plant here and have one in town as well. It just may not be as big. I think having something manageable is good. NZ Mermaid, Angie's Pantry. LED light may take almost no power from Nona Grace. That's true. Angie's Pantry. How is the price of honey there? Over here, a small bonnet is about $11.95. 2 years ago, it was less than $5. Wow, that seems like quite a jump to me. I'm not familiar with honey prices. I'm not familiar with keeping bees. Heather really has a passion for keeping or trying to do this bee thing, and so we're gonna have to get her a bee suit, get her all, help her get all gussied up in a bee suit and cut her loose on the bees and see what happens. I think that there's a couple of goals right there that are going to take us some time. They're not going to happen overnight. I mean, settling a family of 6 into the city, all of our moving, all of our furniture, it's going to take a while. It really is.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This cat had a question. It's, will you be helping city kids now? No God.
Yes, we will. I've got a ministry that I work with here in Cincinnati, and I'll be maintaining that job as a youth pastor, but I'll also be in Dayton and living with my kids and their friends and the friends that we make in our neighborhood. So yeah, so anyway, that's definitely gonna happen. I will buy honey from you. That's awesome, James. Thank you. Well, we've got to figure this whole thing out because we've got a lot of we've got some honeybee hives that we're going to get cleaned up and set up, and it's going to be a little bit of a process. Let's see. Wow, that is crazy, Enzy Mermaid. To be honest with you, you buy it by the gallon. When I'm in Florida, I pay $25 for it. If I have to get it here in Michigan, I pay about $13 for half a gallon. Just had to Google comparison. That works out much cheaper here. Okay. You guys live in Cincinnati now. Have you been to the Creations Museum? Would love to go sometime. You know what's funny? We haven't been to the Creation Museum. Well, I take that back. My kids. Have you been?
I've been to the Children's Museum.
That's the Children's. Max has been to the Creation Museum.
I have.
Yeah, you went with me, Mom, and Paul when you were a kid, about that tall. Little guy,
Was
chubby
it the one
cheeks.
with- Yeah.
Awesome. Anyway, Tracy is saying bees are good. Helps to combat hay fever as it's made with the local pollen. How can we on your channel be of any help? Well, gosh, keep praying for us. You know, keep talking with us about things that you've tried. Keep being on our live streams and watching our videos. Supporting us in all of the different ways that you have been through prayer or where you feel led to. There's many different ways to support us, but I think the biggest way right now is just prayer. We have a couple of different income streams. One of them, which is Thrive Life Food. So if you're interested in buying some Thrive Life, check out goinbatty.thrivelife.com. If you're interested in something that's crocheted, check out our store, goinbattystore.com, and pray. And as you guys see things that we're doing wrong, speak up, and as we do things right, we'll celebrate with you guys. So yeah, I think that's one of those are some of the things, some of the goals that we have as we move into this new section. Brad Talby, how are you? We've been to the Creation Museum and the Ark. I wish we could go there. I haven't been there yet. Told considering inappropriate live stream. Let's see. Hi Allison. I would love to say hi back to everyone, but have been told that is considered inappropriate live stream etiquette and self-serving. What? Yeah, I agree. Say hi to whoever you want. This is the Goin Batty live stream. You guys can have fun here. I don't know what. Hey, thanks for that. That was very sweet. Thank you for that. The New York State sends out inspectors even if you only have 2 hives. Oh boy. Well, we'll try to figure that out. The Ark is on my bucket list. Yes, that's awesome. Heather, as soon as I start getting sick, tablespoon raw honey every morning. And even, we're going to have to buy Mom some honey. I think that's really the thing that's going to make her feel better.
Yeah.
Will somebody tell me about the super chat? I would tell you about the super chat, but I don't know how it works. So, Donna Terry, I'm going to rely on my more experienced YouTubers to share with you what that super chat thing is, okay? Can you start a city homesteader scouts group learning about growing plants? Absolutely. We're actually thinking about our schedule, and one of my sons, Jack, is going to get involved in Boy Scouts and try it out. Pamela Lopez, I'm so cute in my crocheted purple hat. Can't wait until it freezes here. That's awesome. Anyway, this is our plan for what we're gonna do. But there's one more thing. I don't know what the laws are around water catchment, but we are going to do a little bit of that to water our plants with. We're going to try to keep it manageable, and we're going to try to keep it simple. One of the things with this house in particularly is the basement has a tendency to get a little puddle in it. Hi, Leslie B. How are you? So good to see you. Glad you're with us. The water catchment system has to be maintained, and it has to be small, and it can't be overwhelming, or the city gets all mad because they think you're going to flood something or take away their birthday, or I don't know, whatever. But we're going to try some water catchment and see what happens. And I just think all of these things are a lot of fun. We're going to do some self-sufficiency stuff we don't even know about yet, like having a what's it called, generator, getting a generator ready for when we do have power out. Plants indoor and out are good, fun, love plants as a child. You know, it's funny, as Heather has experimented with plants, she does much better with the outside plants. The inside plants have a tendency to die. And I just, you know, as much as we love to do the planting stuff, I think we have to stick to the plants outside. But there are some things like I'm seeing some new stuff. Noah's Ark, at the beginning of the thing, we answered, why are we moving? Well, we own a home in Dayton, and it's been rented, and that renter is moving out, and we're going to take back over that house so that Heather's mom can have her house back. The kids can have their own rooms and their own space. It's a little bit better format for us as far as the family and functioning, but it is in the city. And we're not in a financial position where we can afford to buy the ultimate dream homestead, but this is a step in that direction. So let's talk to Mr. Peanut for a minute. This is a rare opportunity where one of the Goin Batty kids is here with us. Give us your take on homesteading, and why do you like homesteading? I know that sometimes parents can force homesteading on their kids, and their kids is like, I'd rather not, thanks. But I think our kids are a little different. Not always, but why do you like to homestead, and why do you think it's important?
This is going to be a long conversation. Okay.
Well, let's get started then, folks. Settle in. Mr. Peanut's going to share.
Alright. So, I think the reason why I like homesteading is because I know where all my food comes from. And, I mean, when we started homesteading, I was like, when we first got our chickens, like, it was a complete surprise. Like, I had no idea what was happening, and then all I knew is that we got a chicken coop. And at first I thought it was a playhouse. So, what happened is I came home from school one day. This was like before I was homeschooled and weird.
Isn't it interesting that he adds homeschool and weird to that? Go ahead.
Weird is a compliment.
It is. There's a whole good thing about weird.
So, what was I saying? Oh, I remember. So I came home from school, and then I saw something inside of the chicken coop, and I was like, what is that? And Dad was like, we got chickens. And I'm like, pets? So then I was like, there are a ton of chickens that we got that were like some of my favorite chickens we've ever had. Like, we named a couple of them. There was we named them after Star Wars characters, but like with puns. So we named one Han Solo, like Princess Leia, Chewbacca.
Big Screen, I agree. Never name your food. I've always told them that. And we do. One of the things that Max does really well is he went with me to take a chicken eviscerating class. And we learned from the Resistance chicks how to eviscerate a chicken. And Max is pretty efficient at it. We don't do it as often as we would like to, and so we get rusty. But the last time we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, we did a good job.
And I know a lot of people in our chat see their chickens as pets, and so we do have some that we consider very precious to us, but we are having to get rid of them. But we eat our birds. There's many that Heather's used as stock for our chicken stock.
Yeah, I mean, but one of the things that I absolutely hate about the eviscerating process is feathering.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
do
not
not
fun.
have a feather. Is that right?
Plucker.
Plucker.
Yeah.
That's much
Automatic
better
plucker.
An automatic plucker.
Delicious pets. Lone Star, that's awesome.
So
I'm sorry,
like,
that wasn't right.
We have to, like, me, Jack and Miles and me will all have to, like, yank them out, and it's like, it's a pain in the butt because, like, you can barely get, like, all of them out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, when you dunk them in hot water, and I mean, sometimes you have to go back and dunk them again, so, and I mean, that's pretty frustrating, too.
Yeah. James, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember like the first garden we had. I'm pretty sure that it was either like something Katie had to do for co-op or something. So, and what happened is she planted all these different kinds of plants, and like she did broccoli, she did sunflowers, and I remember we had a ton of sunflower seeds that year. And I was in hog heaven because I love sunflower seeds. So, and then, like, she had these really awesome looking tomatoes, like purple and red. And that kind of, like, struck something with me. And I was like, you know what, this is pretty awesome because we put a lot of work into that. And I'm pretty sure, like, the first raised beds we ever had were a ton of pallets. And we just planted stuff in there. Yep. And like we put boards at the bottom, we put boards at the side, and then we just planted stuff in like the rows. And I remember thinking, I was like, you know what, this tastes better. And I mean, and I'm like, I know where this came from. And I'm like, so like that day I did a little research on where the food that we get from the grocery store, what happens. It turns out that they put pesticides on there, and like I was at Jungle Gyms the other day, and I remember we bought these, and they tasted awful. They were called grapples. They were grape flavored infused apples.
Oh yeah, it was weird.
No, I was like, make up your mind, Apple. So I mean, that's pretty much my perspective.
Trucking it up just says we name our pig sausage, bacon, and pork chop. That's awesome. Love that.
Pork chop.
That's awesome. Yeah. So there you go from a Goin Batty kid perspective.
I mean, I love
homesteading.
I will totally do it when I get older. I mean, but like my dreams are like, I want horses and cows and like I want the whole deal. So I'm like, and like it slips my mind how much work I really have to put into that. So, I mean, work around the homestead is everything. Like nothing gets done unless you work for it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things like I've learned is like when we didn't have chickens, when we didn't have a garden, it it was okay to be lazy. And now there's this responsibility to get everything done. And so chickens, rabbits, and I mean, I remember I was so thrilled when we got rabbits because first off, they were adorable.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I think, you know, as we move forward in the homesteading thing, it's something that we really have developed in our kids as a mindset and a responsibility. The biggest thing that I would say is one thing, I guess the biggest thing that we've enjoyed watching.
You rock too.
We've enjoyed watching our kids begin to own it for their own. So instead of having to hover over them and watch what they do, they're really taking responsibility for it, and they're keeping our animals alive. They're keeping them safe. We come alongside and make sure that we're we're praising them and that they're, you know, enjoying the thing. I think what Max is telling everyone is that the over-engineered food is a no-go. The over-engineered food that you get from the grocery store, it's time to go. It's a big problem, and it's time to get back to basics. We were watching Justin Rhodes just recently, and there is a 3-generation group of ladies who were spinning their own wool, and they weren't doing it in mass production to sell it. They were doing it because they loved the process. Each step of cleaning the wool, I forget what they called it, but they take 2 brushes and they pull it this way. Check out Justin Rhodes' video on that, and it is incredible how they take it to the bare bones because they love the process. They love the idea of how to straighten out the wool and turn it into yarn, and they even have their own machine that turns it into yarn. It's incredible. And so showing my kids the process of, this is how you grow a tomato, this is how you do chickens, this is how you take care of rabbits, this is whatever it takes to, you know, heat your home, keep the bills down to a minimum. These are all things that I think are really important to share with our kids because it's a lost art. It's not something that we get to see or do very often. So, you know, we're just going to work on staying away from the bad stuff. You know, when tomatoes go to the store, they get bought, whether it's they get bought somewhere else like China or across the seas, or whether they get picked here, they're still a little green. And they use methane gas to make them ripe. Yeah. And that's just kind of icky.
I was like, when we were watching, what was it? Food Inc.?
Food Inc., yeah.
Food Inc., it's a movie that tells you how food is actually made. So I love tomatoes. Tomatoes have been my thing. I mean, I remember my grandma's house as every time I'd come, there'd be like little tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
So
the little cherry tomatoes?
Yeah, little cherry
He eats
tomatoes.
them like candy. It's incredible. He'll eat a tomato sandwich and eat like 12 tomatoes on one sandwich. It's an amazing thing.
I mean, I love tomatoes, and then I was like, ew, they ripen them with cow farts? Like, because it wasn't actually just like methane gas, it was like cow farts, and I was like, ew.
Keep it family friendly.
Sorry.
All right,
Dad.
there you go. That's all right. Yeah, I mean, the fresh tomatoes that we pull from our garden are going to be game changers for us, and teaching the kids how to grow their own food is going to be part of the inner city experience that we have. So if y'all like documentaries like Food Inc., they're taking Food Matters off Netflix on the 14th. Really? I don't know that one. They're taking Food Matters. I don't know what that is. I'll have to check that out, Lone Star. Thanks for telling us about that. That sounds good. Some of these... that is bovine flatulence to you, Mr. Peanut. Bovine flat. Oh my gosh. Anyway, there is a excitement in the house. There's an excitement about us moving and getting into our own place. There's a little bit of nervousness because it's a new experience and we're moving into a place we haven't been there. Here's something you would love. Have Heather make you a hot dish. Pull my hoof. Okay, that's funny. There's a whole lot. Okay, so check out What the Health for the vegetarian peeps on Netflix. Okay, yes. And yes, Thrive Life has bacon in a can, just so you know. But anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. What do you mean to get rid of the heat? What do you mean to... Oh, that's another conversation. Sorry. yeah, so do you guys have any questions or comments to us that we can answer for you about our plan to move into the city and some of the goals that we have as we kind of take this idea of self-sufficiency into our context, into what we're going to be living? It's definitely something that I feel like is going to be a challenge, but a lot of fun. Angie's Pantry says, yes, I used Miss Wage's package to do it instead of making dill pickles. I did up green tomatoes, turned out awesome. Ooh, nice. They frown on bacon and Dearborn. Oh, that's too bad. Discover big, LOL. Okay. I'm excited to see what y'all are doing. It's definitely going to be different, but y'all got this. Well, thanks for the encouragement, you guys. We're excited about it, and we've got a lot of, I'll tell you, we got a lot of stuff to move. It is going to be quite the trek, and it will be one of those things that we cannot take lightly. Mr. Peanut, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy that we get to move somewhere, because, I mean, we've been living here for almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
About a year, and I mean, now that we're moving at least somewhere, then I'm like, fine by me, I don't care.
Yep.
I mean, where we're moving, like, I remember some of it, so I know where everything is, so that won't be
and ski van.
That won't be like a brain melter. So I mean, the room where me and Jack and Miles are all sharing a room. So, I mean, but it's a really big room. It's really awesome.
All right. So I'm sorry to cut you off, Mr. Peanut. We're going to go to the live feed. We're going to get a U-Haul, and it's going to be a decent size. But it looks like Brad and the Big Family Homestead are on. It looks like Brad got hurt. So we're going to say goodnight and go join that live feed. Thank you for praying for us. Thank you for joining us on kind of a weird impromptu live show. Thank you for being willing to drop things and come over to our show. But go ahead and join some of these other shows, as we're gonna go to bed because I've got to be up early in the morning to go do some ministry. God bless you guys. Thanks for all the encouragement. We will keep you posted on all of our adventures. Even some videos. I think I have a video on my phone I haven't even released yet, so we'll see.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned. Bandana Grandma, take care of that hand. You're worrying me. I'm concerned that you're gonna, it's gonna fall off or something. But feel better, and please pray for Heather that she feels better too. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all the super chats and more updates as we go. Thanks for joining us. Say goodbye, Mr. Peanut.
Bye, everybody. Have a great
right.
week. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
All right, guys. Thanks.